are broadcasting to you from our North Catholic Studios in Cranberry Township for this first episode of our 2022-2023 school year edition. My name is Alex Brown.
And I'm Ryan Berry.
And we are your hosts for this podcast. And it's fall. We're heading into fall, last days of summer as we start here on September the 1st. And it's football season, Ryan.
It is, Alex.
Among other things.
Football started off first. College football is coming up, and now in the NFL a couple weeks later. But North Catholic got their season started in week 0 against Sarah Catholic in a win. It was a sloppy win, but it was a win nonetheless, 37-14. We're going to go over that, and we're also going to preview the entire season. We got a big jump up to 4A this year for the Trojans, and it's going to be a lot of tough tests, but I think it's going to be more exciting than in past years, and it's going to be fun to watch. All home games will be broadcasted on North Catholic Sports Network, and they're all at J.C. Stone this year. So North Catholic technically has their own field now, not sharing with anybody the end zones or even red.
I know. I think they got a new scoreboard this year too.
Hopefully.
So but it feels like your own now, doesn't it? To a certain extent. And you'll hear from Chase Arrington here in a minute, and he'll tell you that as well. But it really, the first game, as you said, it was a sloppy performance. Both teams were sloppy. Sarah Catholic is coming into this year losing how many? They lost like 14 plus seniors from the previous year. All of them were starters, and they come into this year as the defending WPIAL champion and the runner-up at states for 2A. And they were really, really good last year, and then they come into this game and really didn't find a leader.
Yeah, and as I said, it was a sloppy first half. The first quarter, the score was 2-0 with a safety for North Catholic, and there were, I think, 3 fumbles in the first 3 possessions, something like that. And Sarah Catholic also did not run a play beyond its own 31-yard line in the first half.
Which is unbelievable. That shows just how you could say that their offense was incompetent, but you could also say the North Catholic defense was really putting a stranglehold on them, which they were throughout the entirety of that first half. They let them get a couple touchdowns in the second half.
There were 6 forced turnovers to North Catholic as well, which was really big.
That was big.
2 interceptions from Jacob Valentine. One of them was on 4th and 25, which he probably should have let go, but he still got the interception. He played it.
Yeah, but I know Coach Bell, the defensive coordinator, was giving it to the team in film on Monday, as all the sloppiness that they saw in the film and that we saw in person. And
I bet Coach Bailey was doing this.
Yeah, Coach Bailey was doing the same to his squad too, because the offense was not really there for the first quarter, and then in the fourth quarter they started to take out their starters. So you really had 2 good quarters of the offense in that game, which would be the second and third quarter. And Jason Sickett threw the ball 7 times. So
84 yards though, in a
84
touchdown.
yards. Yeah,
I think a 33-yard pass to Gavin
Camvity. Yep, and that exactly. And then later he ran for a touchdown as well. So he was effective, and when he had to throw, he threw well.
Coach O'Shea said he thought he looked very mature and managed the game well. So that's what you want, especially in more of a run-heavy, run-focused offense this year with first-year offensive coordinator Coach Baylog, who came over from as the head coach for Quaker Valley.
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting system though this year for North Catholic, because last year it was a pretty even split in terms of pass and throwing and running the ball. And now this year it's going to be, I would say it's probably going to be a 75-25 running split for the offense this year, as we could see from that game. And they really have 4 good running backs, North Catholic does this year, that are able to and capable of maintaining a serious load throughout the games. And they got led by senior Chase Arrington. But their team on offense, they really have a lot of talent this year, even though they graduated several people. And many of those players, Jack Fennell this year, he's playing defense. So he's playing cornerback this year. So you got a lot of versatility. Seamus Straub, he's stepping in. It's a lot of next man up mentality, as we've talked about, as you see in football and just about every level of football there is. It's a next man up mentality. Even more so than other sports are with the next man up mentality. But you got Seamus Straub stepping up on 3 sides of the ball, as he's the punter this year too.
Yeah, and obviously there'll be some growing pains, losing some good defensive players. I believe 5 on offense and like 6 on defense. You lost Daniel Long, who was really good, Kyle Topinski, Joey Prentice. A lot of very talented players.
Carson
Carson.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting some other Liam Straub.
Liam Straub. Primrose, Tyler Primrose.
Yeah, Tyler Primrose.
Among others.
And it's a
We
lot
could go on
more
all day.
but they're going to be tough to replace, but they're going to have to get replaced, and I think North Catholic found their replacements for that, and I think there'll be some growing pains, but I think it'll be all clean and ready to go by the first conference game against Aliquippa, and that kind of carries us to our season preview. Now let's go through the schedule, Alex. They started off Sarah Catholic. Who do they have next?
Well, they play Shadyside this Friday, the 2nd of September, as we record this here on August the 31st. But this Friday, they'll be playing Shadyside at J.C. Stone, and then after that, as you said, their first conference game. Well, Shadyside's another 2A team that they're playing, so that should be a win. And then the following week is going to be a game that's going to be a really tough one for the Trojans, as they'll be playing the defending WPIAL and state champion Aliquippa at J.C. Stone Field on the 9th of September, and which is going to be a fantastic game. Both of those next 2 games are going to be on the North Catholic Sports Network, as we'll be doing the play-by-play, Ryan and myself, throughout the entire season, as we're looking forward to that, especially.
And after that, North Catholic travels to Highlands in another section test, not conference, but it was another section test there. Both teams are 4A, but not in the same conference. It's usually it's called everyone's in the same conference, but in this, you're in the same section, but different conferences with this section, which I think is kind of interesting that it's phrased that way. But Kiski is then another game. North Catholic has them at home. That game will be broadcasted.
Homecoming.
Yeah, that'll be homecoming. That one's going to be an incredible atmosphere at JC Stone, as all these games should be, with it being kind of smaller bleachers, a lot closer to a lot of people.
It really is.
It's going to be some good atmospheres. And get out to the games. If you don't get out to the games, make sure you watch the broadcast
exactly.
too.
And watch the broadcast. It's not a bad gig. Shouldn't be a bad experience for you watching on that. That's on the North Catholic webpage. And then after that, on Friday the 30th, they'll be going to Armstrong to play there. That's a conference game. And then following that, they have a little bit of a break, and then they play on 10-7 at Hampton. And that will be a non-conference game, and that's going to be that is a home game, so that'll be on the network as well.
Yep, I bet they wish that Armstrong game was at home and then Hampton was the away one. Didn't have to travel all the way up to Katanning. But then North Catholic plays Avonworth in a rematch
What a game.
Of what was it, the semifinal?
Semifinals.
Semifinal, and that was a 7-0 game, a low scoring. Maybe it wasn't. I think it was.
I think it was really low scoring.
It was a low scoring if it wasn't 7-0, and I expect it to be another defensive battle this year.
And it's really interesting though, because when you talk to the players, you say, "Who's your biggest rival for the football team?" And they say Avonworth, based on the experience that they've had with them over the last couple of years, and that's going to be a tremendous game.
And that's interesting that you say that, because a lot of the other sports say that Avonworth is a big rival too. Girls soccer, that's the biggest rival. You could say volleyball is up there too with Avonworth.
Absolutely, and you got baseball too, even to a certain extent. They play each other as well. And then they wrap up the year with 2 away games. They're going to Indiana for a non-conference game, which is way away. And then you could consider this an away game, or you can consider it a old home game, as you're going to the old stopping grounds at Mars. Over the last couple of years, North Catholic playing a majority of their home games at Mars High School. Now that they're in the same conference, they will not be able to do such, and they'll be going to play the Planets on the 28th of October, and that's going to be a wild game as well. And that about wraps up their season before the playoffs, but it should be good.
It's going to be a fun year, Alex. A lot of competitive games, some great atmospheres. So it's going to be fun. And we talked to Chase Arrington, one of the stars, one of the captains for this year for the football team, about, I guess, a preview of this year and what he expects, who to step up, fill some roles. It was a great interview. We thank Chase for coming on, and here it is.
And we're here with North Catholic varsity running back Chase Arrington. Chase, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
Chase, I know you guys have one more non-conference game, but how excited are you to make the leap up to 4A this year and play some better competition?
I'm real excited for 4A. I know the guys are too. Blowing every team out was not really too fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have like a bunch of close games, new teams. better competition,
Are
definitely.
you expecting a lot more environments like the Blackhawk game was last year?
Oh, yeah,
at JC Stone?
definitely. Definitely. Should be every home game. Should be really packed.
And it's something, though, being the new guys in your conference now. Because you're now the new guys. You're not established in the conference. So you're playing, like, Aliquippa in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So just in a week now. It's coming up quick. But you're playing guys and teams that are, in the past, have been above you. But now you're right there with them.
Yep.
Is there a certain underdog mentality that you guys have undertaken this year? Or do you feel like, hey, we're here, we belong, we're on the same level?
I feel like, we're right with them,
Yeah.
Some guys, just don't have, like, the same confidence. But, as we go through the season, we will build that confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know some people didn't want to move up to 4A. I wanted to move up to 4A. I think
Welcome the challenge.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm welcoming the challenge. I feel like, we're good enough. I mean, we're better than most of the teams in our conference, I feel like, definitely. And right now, Triple Live has us as number 5 in 4A. Like, we got to understand that, like, North Catholics, like, we have this winning tradition. Like, let's keep this going, even though we're in 4A. Why not?
I don't know about you, Ryan, but I want to run through a wall right now.
After losing your starting quarterback last year and bringing in a new offensive coordinator, you think it might take a little more time than usual to work off some of the rust, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. We've been working hard all summer. Learning new offense. Second will be the starting quarterback. He's getting just comfortable with being like on the varsity field. I feel like he did very well on Friday though.
I
He had
so,
that great
yeah.
run. He had
He
some
did.
good passes.
Didn't have to pass too much.
Yeah, no.
But it worked out.
We're more of a run heavy team.
Yeah.
This year, like we'll be running the ball way more this year. We have, I feel like, 4 good running backs, including me, that will be perfectly fine. Like with us subbing in and out, no drop off at skill or anything.
So like last year, injuries really stifled your season.
Yeah.
So before you even had a chance to really get going.
Yep.
Did that change your mentality all through the off season? It's like really motivation coming into your senior year this year.
Yeah, I've dealt with injuries and stuff in the past, it's football, and but this one, it really hurt like a lot because this was like last year was the season that like I broke out,
Yeah.
I wanted to feel like I just wanted to keep going, I only sat out 2 games, Derry and Deer Lakes. Like I didn't want to come out. So, it definitely put a fuel like to my fire from that and losing at Heinz Field, I was real determined, in the off season I never really took any breaks, Like I just maybe 5 days after Heinz, I just started working out. So
Right back into it.
yeah, right back into it, no breaks. Like I just can't. I'm not like one of those people that can just sit there and just like I don't feel productive if I'm not doing just something. I always have to do something every single day.
And I've seen that with you with track because you did track last year and were fantastic at it. And it's really something that you've been able to build up your conditioning, get even faster, get even stronger. And I've seen that in you over the course of the year. And like doing track, like, was that something different for you?
I've been running track since I would say
okay, wow.
like maybe 6 years old.
So, oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah, so
it's not new at all.
Yeah, it's not new at all, but it's not my main sport, but
First year here at doing that at North Catholic, yeah.
Chase, you recognized as one of the team captains this year. What does that mean to you, and how have you, I guess, grown into your leadership role throughout your time at North?
I feel like I'm more of a leader of like how I play. I'm not the most like talkative person, but I do talk. I do help the young guys out. Last year as a transfer, like I felt like I didn't have like the right to, to, like try to be a leader. So I just led by example last year. But this year, I'm starting to be more vocal. Definitely. For the Sarah Catholic game, I gave like the big hype speech before the game.
Nice,
like, we ran through the banner. I got the boys hype. So. It felt good. It felt good, like getting out of my bubble. Talking more.
That's great. And really, that's about all we got for you. One more thing, JC Stone this year, it's ours now, really.
Yeah.
So it's your field. We're not sharing it with anybody. We're not sharing with Mars this year. How does that feel to get basically something that feels like your own to play on?
It feels good. I've only played at JC Stone once.
Yeah, I know.
And that game was incredible.
It was.
I did play at the scrimmage. That wasn't
That's not, that's not much.
You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't a game. So, you know, this Friday will be my second game at JC Stone. I love the environment. I just love, like, it's not that too big of a stadium. I don't know, like, how to explain. I just
Bleachers
love
all on
it.
the same side.
It's
everyone's
intimate.
Yeah,
It's
it's
an
just-
intimate stadium.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I just love the energy at JC Stone.
Excellent.
Well, thanks for your time and good luck the rest of the season.
Yep, thank you.
We really appreciate it. And you just heard from Chase Arrington. And as that about wraps up our football talk for today's podcast, they play Shady Side this Friday, Aliquippa the following Friday at home, Highlands, and then up to homecoming they play Kiski at JC Stone. And 3 of those games will be on the North Catholic Sports Network. Will be on the call.
And now let's move on to Trojan at soccer, Alex. They got their season started last night against Ambridge with a 6-0 win. Lauren MacDonald, who you will hear from in a few minutes, scored 2 goals and had an assist. Alex told her after we interviewed her, said, "Don't limit yourself to 1 goal," and she did not.
No, and Ambridge, that's a team that they beat last year handily as well. But it seems that the Ambridge goalie played out of her mind yesterday, so they could have been a lot worse.
In North, there might be some growing pains this year, especially after losing a lot of talented seniors like Jaden Sharpless, Taya Dave, and many more seniors that graduated. But Lauren MacDonald, as you'll hear in a bit, seems to think that there won't be much drop-off because they want to get back to that championship game.
And you got players like Simone Sharpless, Jaden's younger sister, rising up. She got 2 goals yesterday, and she's going to be a force over her time at North. New coach this year, 3rd coach in 3 years for the girls soccer team. This is the same team that last year made it to the Whitfield Championship. They were Whitfield runner-up. They lost in overtime to Avonworth at Highmark. We were there for that game, Ryan, and that was a heartbreaking loss, and the team took that one on the chin, and they really never recovered going into the PIAA playoffs last year, and it was a tough rebound there, and now Avonworth, that's their main rival, and so that's who they're going to be looking to contend with again this year as they look to repeat their trip to the Whitfield Championship, but this time to come out on top. And for more on that, let's hear from Lauren MacDonald.
We are here with North Catholic girls soccer player Lauren MacDonald. Lauren, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for speaking with me.
Lauren, first off, congratulations on your commitment at Rhode Island.
Thank you.
And can you explain to us how the recruiting experience was and what ultimately led to your decision to go there?
So the recruiting process is very stressful, to say the least. It lasted probably about like a year or so for me. So you go through like several tournaments, and then you email coaches and ask them to come to your games and stuff. And then finally, the University of Rhode Island contacted me after I played in California in a big tournament. And then I went up to their ID camp in July, and then they offered me, which was very exciting. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you're emailing these coaches from like other schools, were there certain ones that, let's say, you have in mind? So, like, let's say you like a certain college, you would just email their coach and say, "Hey, if I'm playing at this tournament, you can come visit. If you could come watch me here, that'd be great."
Yeah. So usually the tournament will release a list of all the coaches that are going and like their emails. So you just contact whoever you want. You can contact all of them, which is like hundreds. Just contact a few. Yeah. But
How
it's
about
pretty
that,
neat.
Ryan? She plays in
traveled a
California,
long
all the way
way.
back to Rhode Island.
Lauren, with losing in the championship game last year to Avonworth, how has that motivated you, yourself, and the team to get back to that point this year?
I mean, definitely we have more of a strategy this year to cover, obviously, Fiona, who was the one who scored the game-winning goal. We got to make sure communication is key. Definitely just work together better as a team. I think with our new coach, DJ, this year, we'll be able to make it pretty far. So, yeah, I'm excited.
So with Coach Sharpless taking the reins this season, how has the team been responding to the new change? Because it is different, though, because have you had a different coach every year you've been here?
I had the same coach freshman and sophomore,
year.
year.
You've had 3 coaches in
Yes.
the last 3 years.
Yes.
That's something else.
Yeah.
So, like, how's the team been adjusting?
Oh, we love him. He's such a great
great.
coach. Yeah, so
Full of energy.
yes, definitely. So, yeah, it's been very good this
Different kind of system you're playing?
Yes, we definitely more like, well, over the summer we did a lot of conditioning, so we're trying to like press a lot on the field, so just like more of like a attacking style, more more than like last year, like laying back a little bit. So yeah.
Lauren, you're one of only a few seniors on this team. Have you seen yourself grow to a leadership role because of how few there are?
Yes, definitely. Elle, Britt, and I, there's only 3 of us, so we definitely have to take up. We have to take up a lot more responsibility because last year we lost, I don't know, 5 or 6 seniors, who were amazing. But yeah, it's definitely a big role to take over.
So another thing, like when you're losing those seniors, and you're losing, as you said, there were some good players on that team that graduated, D1 players,
Yes.
and you got a younger team coming up. So who can we expect to see rise up and fill some of those starting roles this year?
I mean, definitely freshman Simone Sharpless, Jaden's little sister. She's taken up a big role on the team. She's awesome. Definitely some sophomores, PD or Lauren Mealy. We also have Allie Diglow, and then just a lot of juniors, Lily Carsman, and then including Elbert and I. We really trying to pull the team together.
Excellent.
Well, Lauren, thanks again for coming on.
Thank
Hopefully we
you.
can talk to you again this season.
Yes.
And you just heard from Lauren MacDonald previewing the girls' soccer season. And now it's on to boys' soccer, Alex.
Yes, and the boys soccer team, it's lots of changes this year.
And I think the boys' soccer, though, I think they might have gotten or changes in divisions. Are you talking about, or changes?
Well, changes
in
in divisions. You got changes in rosters. It's a couple different things.
Well, changes in divisions definitely going to make a lot of games more competitive for the boys' team. But changes in the roster, I mean, they lost their captain, Dylan Greggs. They lost arguably their best defenseman, Will Kunzen. But it wasn't as, I guess, like the girls' soccer. They lost a heck of a lot of players. A lot of teams lost a lot of players. The boys' soccer didn't seem to lose as many seniors as some of the other teams. So that might benefit them and help them with a lot more experience than some of the other teams.
And they really don't have a tremendous amount of seniors this year. They're at least on the varsity side are starting. So it's really a younger team that keeps on building and building. And the changes in divisions that we're mentioning is that they're moving up from 2A to 3A in soccer, and so that's going to be a lot better competition than they have had in years past. But it's also a tougher challenge for a team that if they stayed in 2A this year, they probably would have won 2A. As Quaker Valley graduated, a lot of people, as they stayed down. Ambridge moved up with North Catholic, and North Catholic will start their season this weekend in the Mars tournament. And then they don't play Mars at that tournament. They play Alderdice on Sunday. They have practice on Monday, Labor Day, and then they have their first
play Mars
game against Mars on Tuesday.
But and that's gonna be a good game. Apparently, Mars is bringing a lot of people to that game. It's at Mars, so so you consider that close. I mean, that's where the North Catholic football team played. So definitely try to get out to that game. That's gonna be a fun, close game. First game at 3A for the Trojans.
Absolutely, that's a big change though. That really is a big change, especially for a team that loses some of their most prolific and most dependable people on the back end and on the front end, and you really have to rely on some people to step up. And they have players that can do that.
And there's a lot of starters returning. Or Ryan Chance, I think was the leading goal scorer, will be back. Jake Stoffko, Rosario Alessandro, and Brody Dunn will be the core of the defense for this year. And there's a lot of Dylan Scheel.
Francisco Smith. Yeah, you got some good players up and down the middle of the field.
Marcus Kurtz.
Marcus Kurtz, we're captain. I think Marcus Kurtz. Yeah, we got. And now, speaking of Marcus, here he is. Let's hear from him now. We're with varsity soccer player Marcus Kurtz today. Marcus, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
Marcus, with you guys moving up to classification, what mentality or attitude are you having going into this season?
I mean, we definitely have to start hot this year. Last year we had a little bit of a rocky season, couldn't really win back-to-back games. This year, with the section being a little more difficult, I think we'll have to definitely come out a little more on fire, if you know what I mean, with just winning games and coming out there and doing our job.
So the team, soccer is a different kind of sport when it comes with practicing, because you see the season starts late August, early September. But you guys are practicing all the way back into start of July. Starting with the team getting going. How's the chemistry been amongst the group?
It's been all right. I mean, we've had summer training since the actually day after school got out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So we've had summer training. So. And we're bringing a lot back with sophomores turning into juniors and juniors turning into seniors and obviously freshmen and everything. So we've played with each other for a couple of years now. So The chemistry's there for the most part.
Yeah.
Marcus, you've seen yourself grow in a leadership role throughout the last couple of years. This year, you're named the captain. What does being a leader mean to you, and how do you hope to steer this team to victory?
Well, I mean, that's a tough question. I feel like I've always been kind of a leader on the team.
Yeah.
Travel team's been captain, everything like that. But to be one for your high school, it's definitely different. It's definitely a good feeling. Just trying to keep everybody's head on track in the games, not arguing with refs, keeping everybody's heads up and everything.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, we have a challenge with our team with certain players and trying to get them to just be quiet.
But I can see, like, even just talking to us right now, I
Mm-hmm.
can see your passion, your pride in this team.
Yeah.
So, like, this year, your senior year, like, what's going through your mind right now, like, in terms of your motivation for this year? Because I can just see right now how important this is.
So motivation-wise, I mean, Quaker Valley last year, that's all the motivation I need, really.
Yeah.
But, I mean, moving up and not having to deal with that team anymore is really going to be nice, if I'm going to be honest. 4 times last season, 0-4 against them. But, definitely just the tougher competition, knowing that we have to come out and give our A game almost every single game for this section is definitely, like, pumping me up. And I'm really excited to have that competition, not just with one team like Quaker Valley, but with multiple teams in our section this year.
Marcus, to finish off, what goals do you have for yourself this year?
Oh, for myself, I
It
don't.
could be for the team.
Yeah,
for the team.
I don't really have any for myself because I don't really go after all whippio or anything like that. I want to win a state championship. I think it's possible. I think if we get everything together and we bring our team together a little bit more and we start putting everything together, we win some games and we make it to the playoffs. This team's built for the playoffs, I'll tell you that, after the run we had last year. So all we need to do is make it to the playoffs, and I think could be walking out of the season with a ring.
I like that. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Oh, we appreciate your time today, Marcus, and we wish you all the best of luck in this season.
Thank you, yeah.
And you just heard from Marcus Kurtz previewing the boys soccer season.
And with that, let's move on to girls tennis. Girls tennis, they've had a tough start to the season in terms of competition, but they've handled it well so far. On August the 31st, they beat Hampton in a 3-2 section win. Katie Hardy won 6-1, 6-1 in her singles matchup. Annabelle Polowitz and Danny O'Connor won 7-6, 6-2 at their doubles matchup, and the match was tied at 2-2. Coming down to the final matchup of the day, that was the singles match, and North Catholic's Lucy Miller lost the first set, but battled back to win the second set, then got down 0-3 in the third set, only to rally. And finally, the match went down to a 6-6 tiebreaker, and where Lucy pulled it out in the end, and North Catholic won the day over Hampton, and a great win for the Trojanettes.
Yes, was Alex. Their next game is actually today while we're recording it. Well, this game will be over, or match will be over after this podcast is up. But they play Riverside, and then September 6th, a Tuesday, they play Burrell. So
is Riverside a section matchup?
I'm not sure if they're in their section or not. But try to stack some wins. They've won 2 in a row after losing 2 in a row to start the year. So let's try to stack some wins for the girls tennis team.
Absolutely. And how about golf, Ryan?
Yeah, let's take it into golf. The varsity golf team has only lost 1 match this whole year so far.
That's impressive. Because you've been playing, there's been a lot of matchups repeatedly. And J.R. Huffnagel, Eric Schneider, Justin Contel, among others, have really, really been leading the golf squad as of late. As they did suffer a loss late their last matchup, which was against Shaler on the 30th, and they only lost by 3 strokes. Ethan Ellis as well, and Luke Lamb been fantastic as of late. And other than that loss to Shaler, they've been remarkable throughout this entire year, haven't they?
In their
Ryan?
last game, last match against Shadyside was at Fox Chapel Golf Club. J.R. Huffnagel shot 2 under par, 33, and North Catholic won by 8 strokes.
That's a medal
Or
performance.
12
isn't
strokes.
it?
12 strokes.
12
yes.
strokes. I think he was second place for that performance of 2 under par. That's remarkable too. If you're thinking about what grade is he in?
He's a senior.
Senior this year, but that's remarkable. performance by the Trojans as they continue their dominance on the links as we move forward. And we got girls volleyball coming up here in the near future as we'll be broadcasting games for that on the North Catholic Sports Network. We'll be probably doing a girls and boys senior night broadcast for their soccer team coming up here in the future. And we got football. Ryan, we're getting going here.
A lot of stuff going on. And hockey obviously gets started at the beginning of October, so we're getting ready to go. A lot of sports covered all in North Catholic Athletics podcast. And we'll have a lot of broadcasts for football starting this Friday against Shadyside, and the next week against Aliquippa. And Alex will broadcast some of the hockey games. We'll get girls volleyball games, and we'll get the senior nights hopefully for some other sports as well.
Absolutely. And then we'll be doing a podcast next week. As it is right now, we're scheduled to go to the Trojan Open that is on next Tuesday, and we'll be doing some interviews from the Trojan Open of some of the participants involved, and so that'll be interesting as well. We'll see what we can make of that, and we'll probably do a little recap in that same very episode of what's happened in the past week for all the sports teams. Football, soccer, as there'll be tennis, golf. We'll just do a little recap on all those as we interview some people from the golf event for the day. And with that about does it.
Yes, it does, Alex. A good way to start off the year with 3 good interviews and talk about a whole host of sports. We thank you for listening. And remember, we are your one-stop podcast for everything North Catholic Athletics.